Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures fall in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell.
Yes, that was a pretty dope intro, right? What do you guys think?
That was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome,
Welcome
to Earth 2's
while that was
Dark.
going on.
My bad. I'll give you a chance, Lucas. I will. Welcome to Earth 2's Dark Universe. This is a Halloween special episode that I've always wanted to do for so long. I finally get a chance to do it. Yes, it's your boy Mo Crosby, and I have wonderful people to help me do this today, and I'm going to let my guests go ahead and introduce themselves. Starting from, not you, Lucas, because you're not really a guest anymore. So,
damn.
Any one of you wonderful ladies want to go ahead and go first?
Yeah, I'm Michaela. I'm from Seattle, Washington. Well, kind of Seattle, Washington. I feel like I'm a lot farther away than you guys are. But I run a board game store there, so.
Thank you very much.
I am Keem. I am from the Washington, D.C. area, and I am Keem of the Draw 4 Squadcast.
Hey, yeah, that's one of our. I love your podcast, by the way.
Thank you.
next time you're going on vacation, I'm just not gonna listen because it's not the same. The quality drops.
It's chaos.
When you're not on there, the quality drops. And you guys know this guy already.
Yep.
There's no need to introduce him, but let me just let him talk about himself because I know he wants to talk about himself for like 2 seconds. So go ahead, sir.
Always.
It is your Lord and Emperor, Lou, from the Draw 4 podcast, the Michael Jordan of all podcasts.
Here we go.
About to enjoy ourselves with this Halloween edition of the Dark Universe of this. Oh, I was going to call you a word. I'm not going to do that today because it's Sunday, though.
Please and thank you. Yeah. So, yes, we're going dark today. It's the Dark Universe, and we're going to talk about horror. We're going to talk about the whole genre. We're going to talk about the genre in itself. What we like or don't like. From where we started watching it, what classic horror movies we like, and just anything that really got us going. And we're gonna end this with that character or the movie that, even though we do love horror and the genre, freaks us out. So I will let Michaela start this off. So Michaela, when you started watching, where did you start? What movies did you start with? How did you start watching horror? I would like to know that.
Well, it's kind of funny because when I was a kid, I actually really hated scary stuff. Like every Halloween, we'd go to Target and I was at least halfway across the store from the Halloween section. It's I really hated the mask, scared the crap out of me. But my parents didn't really censor my brother and I when we were kids. So eventually we would, come home, my parents would be watching scary movies, and it just kind of it was a thing that I got used to. I remember the very first horror movie that I think I saw in theaters. My parents couldn't get a babysitter for when Sixth Sense came out, and that movie made me scared to death. But ever since then, I just kind of was this is pretty cool, I guess. I'm still alive, even though I thought I was gonna die because this movie was terrifying. But yeah, that's pretty much how it started. Just no censorship from my parents.
That's awesome. Keem, how about you? Wait, are you a fan? Or are you
I am.
Oh, okay.
Full disclosure, I don't know that I've watched a full, maybe 1 or 2 horror movies in the last 5 years because I started living by myself. And I have a very active imagination. So in order to sleep at night, I had to cut out most of the horror movie watching just so that I wouldn't be a basket case in the morning.
Yeah.
And let me just say that Michaela just made me feel extremely old. She said my parents couldn't find a sitter for the Sixth Sense, and I'm about to
wow,
a little farther back than that. I was kind of forced into the horror movie life. I have an older cousin that kind of served as a big brother to me, and I thought he was so cool. So everything that he did, I wanted to do, even though he's like 4 years older than me. So I think the first horror movies that I was introduced to was probably more of the B-rated horror movies, like Outer Space and Critters. And then, of course, all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. So he would like come over to stay on the weekend, and he'd be like, I got the new Nightmare on Elm Street. And so we'd sit there and watch that, and I'd be scared out of my mind. And then I'd be ready to watch the next one. So I guess it was inherited.
Wow, that's amazing. So you were scared, but you still turned around and be like, I still want to be like you, so I'm going to watch this movie because you're cool.
Like, oh my God, what is, I'm still going to look. Yeah, so even though they all scared the crap out of me, like, I don't do roller coasters or anything like that. So that was pretty much my thrill, is to sit there and watch some stuff. And it's very easy for me to suspend disbelief. So yeah, they all got to me pretty good.
Okay. How about you, Lucas?
Wow.
You're probably like the demon child. You laughed at every horror movie you watched.
No, growing up, I was absolutely terrified of horror movies. All of them. I could barely watch a horror movie. Like, growing up, my idea of a horror movie was like Gremlins, Critters, like Keem said. Maybe like Near Dark was like the first time I really started getting into horror movies. I know I'm sounding real old because Near Dark is an extremely old movie, but like I couldn't watch any of the Nightmare on Elm Streets. I was terrified of every single one of them. I didn't know who Michael Myers was until like 94, 95. Because again, I avoided horror movies at all costs. But now, oh man, I can't go a week without watching at least 6 of them.
I remember when, we saw Annabelle together, right?
Yes, you screamed her Annabelle.
I did not scream her
Annabelle.
I swear I didn't scream. It was more of a whoa. It was like a whoa.
No, it was more like a ah! It was as high pitched as humanly possible. It was extremely high pitched.
Look,
it's fine. Everybody's scared of something. Everybody's scared of something.
Oh yeah. Let me see.
And let me say this also real quick, Michaela. I'm agree with Keem. You made me feel so old by saying a sitter for the Sixth Sense. Man.
You appreciate your youth. You cherish it and you cling to it, because you'll wake up one day and you'll sneeze and your back will hurt and you won't know what happened.
Oh man.
I turned 27 this year, so I'm like kind of just accepting that 30 is coming up. I'm like, well, it'll be there eventually. Just deal with it, I guess.
You're accepting the 30s?
Dope.
Yes, 30 is awesome.
So, I'm about to hit that, so I hope it really is dope.
After 30, but 30.
Yeah.
Suspend that moment in time.
It just gets sadder every year.
Hopefully. So
that's the real horror story. Yeah.
Believe it or not, horror for me started with the Child's Play, and I know that's not like a big, like really stupid horror movie, but that was pretty scary, and that's when I started.
What?
Child's Play, Chucky.
The first one was awesome.
The first one
was awesome.
Was scary as fuck, and I started looking at toys and dolls like differently because my brother had like, huge ones, and I was like, nah, don't come near me with that. And then I saw the Poltergeist, and I like watching TV, so that freaked me out. On top of that, but after that, everything. Oh, and then I saw It, the original It, and a lot of people tell me that I'm crazy for this, but I don't talk to me about clowns. Don't bring me around any clowns. No, dead serious.
I brought a thing for you though.
No.
No. Are you sure?
We're not doing this on my show.
Are you sure? I brought you a thing.
Oh man, that is so dope.
That is awesome.
That is so scary.
That is dope.
Okay, it's gone. It's gone.
Wow.
You leaned all the way off camera.
I'm like,
all the way off camera, Joe.
I was like, I kind of figured that was going to happen. If it wasn't going to be from her, I was expecting it from you. Lucas, I was expecting it from you, like, to be honest.
I didn't know we were going to be on camera. And so when we were doing the test earlier, and I was like, oh shit, we're on camera. I'm gonna go grab this like it portrait that I have.
That is such a dope portrait. That is
No,
such a
but
dope
seriously, I will go into why when we get to that portion. But yeah, like I just think horror is so dope. It's so, for me, it's always so funny. I grew up in a Christian home with my mom, and the church we were raised in wasn't one of those like money preaching churches. It was more of the deliverance and the exorcism type churches. So I would in amazement, and then I'd go home and go watch like The Exorcist, and I'm like, oh my God, this just happened at church. So I was amazed by all of that. Like that just, and there are people who would never watch possession type movies because that freaks them out. But for me, I love possession movies. Those are the best ones. They got shittier. No.
Oh, those are tough. Real tough.
Children of
You
the
like
Corn.
possession movies, but yet you screamed during Annabelle. I'm so confused.
No, I didn't scream. No, see, let me. You know what? Let's go back. Let me explain that.
What happened was
No need to explain.
Yes,
no need to explain.
What happened was, it was a jump scare. It was a jump scare, and I jumped. That's the movie was supposed to make you jump, right?
No one else jumped but you. And not only did you kind of jump, you screamed also. Yes,
Lucas,
even the old lady beside us was laughing when your voice got that high. So, she leaned over the T and said, "Is that baby all right?" I said, "He all right." He just looks scared.
Okay. All right. So we've kind of talked about, our personal histories. So let's talk about the whole genre, what we know about it. So when horror started, I think in the 1800s or whatever, the movie genre started, and it's gone from like, I think Universal had their goth monster movies, and it's gone from that, and it hit like the slasher movie period, and then even Alien can be considered, it's a big blockbuster, but it's also it's kind of like a horror movie. It's kind of scary, has horror elements. And so when we look at the whole genre, where do you believe was its highest point? Where do you also believe was its lowest? And what do you think of the genre now today? Because it feels like there's a resurgence, right? Some of the movies coming out are really, really good. So anyone can start this. What do you feel was the highest point for horror movies ever? For you personally, and if you want to say ever. Don't all answer at once, okay? Take your time.
I am being respectful.
For me personally, I'm going to say it was probably the mid 80s when you had like your like the franchise that's coming out, like Friday the 13th,
yes.
Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know why that's how much that movie scared me. I will not remember the name every time I try to bring it up. All of the Michael Myers movies, like I think that's the time when it was really like at its peak, and when you knew a new one was coming out, like scary, you knew there were going to be jump scares, probably going to get a little bit of TNA, but like that's when people were like really checking for it though. And I'm not sure when it fell off. I want to say by the Blair Witch Project Part 2. I feel like it was
in the early 2000s. It started getting a little cornier.
I feel like that's
so
when
much more credit than me.
Yeah, and I do think it's picking up now.
I agree with the thing about the 80s. My favorite horror movie of all time is actually the 1982 Thing, The Thing.
John Carpenter.
And the reason I like it so much is because I'm much more of a old school animatronics and like puppetry and stuff, and like which started more in the 80s, and then as it like we went forward in time, we're like, oh man, CGI is the coolest thing ever, and then it just got really overdone and it wasn't realistic anymore. But then like you had like in Nightmare on Elm Street, there was a ton of cool effects, like when his arms were like and like stretched out, like that was insane. That like scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. And then like I remember one that I really liked that was in the 2000s, which some people either really hate or like, was what the heck is it called? Darkness Falls. Did you guys ever watch Darkness Falls?
I love Darkness Falls.
Yeah, that one had CGI, but they did like a pretty good job of also doing a lot of makeup, which was sweet. And then like after that, I feel like it got like it was just so much CGI, it was insane. And CGI doesn't hold up well over the years, or at least as well as I think animatronics and puppetry does. So after a while, it gets hella dated, and you go back and you're like, it's like watching Jumanji for the first time in like forever. And those goddamn monkeys are like the ugliest things you've ever seen. They're like the worst. But I don't know. I like the 80s a lot as far as like horror movie effects.
Okay. Lucas?
Wow, I'm about to date myself so much here.
This is so much fun.
My favorite period for horror movies is the 70s. And the reason it's the 70s is because all the great horror movie franchise, well, most of the great horror movie franchises, let me say that, started in the 70s when you had The Exorcist, you had Halloween, which came out in the 70s, you had The Omen, which came out in the 70s, Aliens came out in the 70s, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think Jaws, actually, yep, Phantasm, which is one of my favorite horror movies. It's like the 70s was the time where studios decided to take risks and make horror films. True. So they started mass producing them, and it wasn't. It didn't get to where it was in the 80s, which was mainly slasher films. In the 70s, they built a lot of them around either everyday life situations that could be considered horror and things of that nature. Like, I mean, it was just such a great time in the mid to late 70s for horror films. Whether it was also, I think Hills Have Eyes came out around that time also. Yes. So for me, that's like my favorite period because those are the movies I go back to. They're extremely cheesy. Most of the effects are absolutely horrible, but it's the nostalgia about it that I feel. It gets me every time. Like if I go back, I'm always going to go back to the 70s.
I agree with you too because like you and Michaela were saying, a lot of things were simple. Well, maybe a little more difficult, but simpler. Most of the horror movies back then were so simple. It was like you said, it was based on everyday life. And then you started getting into it and it became more cartoonish and they started trying to add too much into the story and build the plot up into this, into these things. And I think that's where they started losing me because it just didn't hold up when you started getting those corny slasher films that had to have TNA, that had to have everything was, I know what's going to happen here. I know what's going to happen here. When the girl and the guy are outside, the really hot girl and the really hot guy are outside messing around, they're gonna die. Like when you became formulaic, it just became stupid to me. And best horror movies are the simplest ones. Even the best slasher films are the simplest ones. Like the original Scream, it was pretty good, and that is the height. Scream, Psycho, the height of slasher movies, or the best two, in my opinion, slasher movies. Were Scream and Psycho. Well, hold on. Psycho for a fact. Hold on. In terms of, hold on. In terms of period, because when the original Scream came out, what was the only slasher movie at the time to compete with it?
You mean in the 90s or altogether?
No, in the time period it came out in the 90s, pretty much, yeah.
Like when it was in theaters.
Yeah.
I would say this about Scream, and I think this is what throws me off most. And it may throw me off and people who are a tad bit older off with Scream. Scream was never a horror movie to me. It was always a nice little thriller. It was something that to me made way more fun of horror movies than it actually was a horror movie. It was a parody. So I remember being in high school when we all went to go see Scream. And I was like, oh, this is okay. It's not bad, but I don't consider it even in the top tier level of slasher films because, I would have to go back to Halloween because Halloween, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, those are slasher films to me. Like Scream is a good movie. It has an amazing opening scene, but the film is kind of not that good past that opening scene. So that's what always throws me off. And
I'll give you that.
And to talk about the 90s, I understand what you mean by what else was out during that time period, because that's when horror fell off. Horror fell off in the late 80s to the mid 90s.
Yeah.
When we got to the Halloween, Curse of Michael Myers, and and Jason Takes Manhattan and all of that stuff, that's when horror completely fell off. And Scream was that resurgence for a lot, and it brought in a younger audience to horror movies by giving you different elements that you didn't get in the ones in the 80s. So I understand from that element why you say that. And with your age, I understand why you would say Scream is like that horror in slasher films.
Why you gotta be ageist? Why you gotta be ageist? Bring the age into this. Like, seriously.
No, because I understand.
Like he said it with his chest, too. And with your age.
Go ahead and call him Young Buck and get it over with.
Exactly. But I understand it. It makes perfectly good sense because that's something you actually got to grow up with a movie like Scream. I was already doing horrible things by the time Scream came out. So it's your relationship to that movie will always be different than mine, which is dope because
that's fair. That's fair. I'll take that. Yeah. Okay. So in our minds, so about the 70s and the 80s had the best horror films. Correct?
Yes.
Because for you, Keem, it was about the 80s. For Lucas and Michaela and myself, it was about the 70s, going into the 80s.
Right.
So what movies, right, in your mind were like this is the dumbest horror movie I've ever seen? Can you just out of your mind just name one?
The dumbest horror movie I've ever seen.
The Hills Have Eyes 2, maybe for me. Halloween Season of the Witch. Oh Jesus.
The Leprechaun series.
Oh no, the first Leprechaun was awesome.
Take that back.
I'm sorry. All of them were pretty dumb. They were all pretty dumb.
Keem and Michaela beat me to it. I was about to go straight Anchorman on you until you shut your whore mouth. That is
no, are you guys serious? Really, you guys all loved them? Like with the
they're
first
hilarious.
One,
it's really hard to I feel like it's hard to rag on a lot of horror movies because I feel like horror is one of the only genres where there's literally like B movies try to be really stupid. So you can't really rag on them because most of the time they're like trying to be dumb. So when I think about it, like all the ones that I think that I thought were stupid were trying to be stupid. So I feel like I can't like properly rag on them. Like the one that first came to mind was Thanksgiving. Have you guys ever seen Thanksgiving?
Oh.
No.
The name.
With the turkey.
Yes, I have seen it.
But that movie's like trying to be super dumb, so I can't like if I say that, it's like, well, that's kind of the point of it, right? Like no other genre like really tries to do that, and at that point, if they do, they're just a comedy. Like if there's an action movie trying to be stupid, it's just like a comedy, right? Like horror is the only one that I feel like can have a director intentionally make a dumb movie, like, and pull it off.
Yes,
this is true. This is true.
Is it Psycho Cop? It's like that. I think that's the name of that movie.
I'm really not taking what I said about the Leprechaun series. All of them, in my mind, were stupid.
No, and that's okay.
You can feel how you want to feel about it. You can feel how you want to feel about it, Lucas. But I am not giving that, and none of them. Oh my God.
Every time Lep in the Hood comes on, I will be here for it. Okay, it was.
Here's the thing, though. You movie, like,
but I love it.
The Child Play series is literally the Leprechaun series. It's the same shit.
No, but after the first one, maybe even the second Child Play movies, I can't. Did any one of you see the last two Child Play movies, Chucky movies? What was it?
It's on my playlist, but I haven't seen it yet.
The last one I've seen both. Was
Cult.
Seed of Chucky, I think. Whatever the one is where they like do the ritual and they get the kid. That's the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, that. I've seen every Child's Play movie, including the Cult of Chucky that just came out not too long ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they didn't try to put it out anywhere other than Netflix because I would not have seen it.
Oh yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
I went out my way to watch Cult of Chucky.
All right, so who's your so of all the horror movies you've seen, who's your favorite director? Who comes to mind as a person who like sets the tone?
Wes Craven.
Yeah.
Interesting. I feel like Michaela's going to say something.
I really so a lot of the horror movies that I really like from like back in the day, like The Thing. Like I love John Carpenter a lot.
Yes.
But right now, I really, really like James Wan a lot because I loved Insidious. Like he's just made a lot of movies in a short span of time recently that I've really liked. Like The Conjuring was one of my favorite like recent horror movies, and he did like The Conjuring, Insidious. He did like the first. Did he do the first Annabelle? I can't remember, but he's like the guy who I think is really bringing back horror. So I think he's probably my favorite at the moment.
Okay, that's perfect because what I'm gonna ask now is, so there's currently a resurgence, like the last 7? Do I say 7 years or 5?
10.
In the last maybe 10. Okay, 10 years we've seen like a really good resurgence of the genre. Like it did fall off in like the early 2000s, man. All the horror movies that came out then were just like, I'll watch it because I'm a fan, but I'm never gonna pick these up and watch them again. But now recently, it's been getting really good. What do you think has led to the resurgence? Like in your opinions?
Probably just, I would say, just a lack. I think somebody probably sat there and was like, you know what, there's a niche here where we haven't been like picking up on this in such a long time. I'm pretty sure we can make money off of this. And even it might not even be an original thought for a horror movie, but if you haven't had any good ones or any really strong ones come out, there was that huge gap of time where everything was kind of weak sauce. I'm pretty sure it was money driven, but then it was also like this is our spot right here where there's nothing happening right now, so let's take advantage.
I feel like it also was probably because like I feel like before horror movies like picked up a bunch again, there was a huge resurgence in horror video games because VR is now like a thing that's like getting better and better. And so I feel like now that VR is making just horror games more popular, I feel like people are like, well, maybe people will enjoy horror movies again. So they're actually like putting an effort into making decent ones. Whereas like they were kind of half-assed like however many years ago. But with like all the VR and all of the indie horror games, the free indie games that you can download on your computer, like Five Nights at Freddy's that like exploded. I think they're like not only making horror as a genre more popular, but they're also getting like the younger generation more into it, which could be another thing, I guess.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you are right, King. You are right because in the past, before the resurgence, it was all big summer movies. That was it. Every studio, all studios just wanted to make was big summer movies. Like nobody wanted to make any like smaller, low budget, because that's what most horror movies are. Like you said, Michaela, they're B movies or low budget movies that you just put $1 million here or $2 million there, maybe 5, 10, and boom, you like what was it? Annabelle Creation. What was that? It was really low budget. Ended up being a big hit for Warner Brothers when it came out, and so I think that's what it was. The studios are finally realizing again that that was there. Those are properties that you still can go back and go into. Lucas, you were going to say?
Whenever I hear horror movie resurgence, I believe it has way more to do with the box office than the movies. Because if you look at some of the films in the early 2000s, I'm going to try to do most of this off the top of my head. Like James Wan started in the early 2000s with Saw.
Yeah.
Because that was his first film.
This is true.
So around the same time, you had The Ring, 28 Days Later, the start of the Paranormal Activity series, like The Orphanage by Mr. Del Toro. I can never say his first name properly. The start of there you go. the start of Zack Snyder with Dawn of the Dead, which is
Dawn of the Dead,
one of the best remakes humanly possible. Eli Roth with Hostel, The Strangers, which we're getting a sequel to this year, which is amazing. That is 9 years later. I believe at that time, even Jeepers Creepers, which is like of recent horror movies, is one of my favorite. That first 30 minutes of that movie is some of the best filmmaking you'll see from a horror film. So I think of late, what we're seeing is the resurgence of people paying more attention to horror films.
Okay.
Like studios always put out horror films. It was always harder to find them.
I mean, not
because you
really.
couldn't go to a
It was
theater to see them.
FearNet. It was FearNet.
Yeah, but
And
for
then-
FearNet, you would really have to be someone into horror movies to even know of FearNet.
Right.
I mean,
right.
like, I can go see an action movie at any point in time because it's going to be on TV everywhere and it's telling me it's coming out. That wasn't the same with horror movies. So until this latest box office resurgence of horror movies, that's why we're paying way more attention to the genre. Even though bigger ones, the ones who make the most money, aren't necessarily the best ones that came out recently. But it's bringing attention to the rest of them, and that's the good thing.
That's good. That's good. So, I want to ask, what are your? Okay, I'm gonna ask for a top 5. I'm pretty sure that's the most difficult thing that I'm gonna ask. The most difficult question I'm gonna ask, but I need a top 5.
I could have given you.
So I'm not gonna ask. I know not to start with you first. You're gonna be the last person because you're gonna take at least 45 minutes. Look, I've listened to enough Draw 4 to know like Keem always waits. Like Keem is gonna let T go, she'll go, then Anthony, and then you. It's always a toss up because it's between you and Anthony. You don't know who's gonna talk.
I'm not feeling all this.
All right.
I'm not feeling all this Draw 4
hate,
love.
Lou. Don't hate. I am lovable with a heart of gold, so you shut it.
So, Michaela or King, which one of you wants to go first?
Michaela, do you have any? I'm still composing a little list here. Do you?
Yeah, I can go. So top 5 horror films, right?
Yes.
Just one of the top 5. Okay. Number 1 is The Thing, 1982. Number 2, have any of you seen Dead Alive? It's a B movie. It was one of Peter Jackson's like first movies. I believe it's Peter Jackson. Yeah, Peter Jackson. It's really funny. Dead Alive. So The Thing, Dead Alive. I really like the new It. Like really like the new It. I've seen it twice so far, and I really want to see it again. Trying to think of what my number 4 would be. Pet Sematary. Really like Pet Sematary. Like a lot. And my number 5 is kind of silly because people either really hated this movie or they really liked it. Like a lot of people think it's really stupid and not scary. But number 5 would probably be The Grudge.
Oh, I love that movie.
It's in there. I think that's one of those in there movies. Like it's in there. I like it.
Yeah, and I'll talk about it a little bit more later, but it kind of like goes into something else we're going to talk about. But that's why that one's on there.
All right.
Okay.
Do you have yours?
I was kind of hoping
really
she talked a little
Lucas.
slower, but it's cool. I got you. Okay, so I'm not going to go in any particular order. It's just kind of the ones that pop into my head. The way I kind of judge like my favorites is the ones that still like mess my head up to this day. Like there's certain things I can't do. For instance, Candyman. Like I can't be in a dark room and think that I'm facing a mirror.
And standing in front of the mirror and
out.
Candyman.
Yeah, no.
It.
Like
I love it. Do you know how many times?
Hey, we will not focus on that movie at all.
I'm sorry.
Yes, we
Oh,
will.
you know what? Yes.
At all.
Yes.
Not focus
Yes, we
on
will. You know why?
We
This
will
is
not.
my top 5. This is not Lou's top 5. This is Team's top 5. So you shut the fuck up and let me finish my list.
Thank you.
First off, it's Candyman because it still freaks me out to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Along those same lines, I know it's newer, but It Follows.
Okay.
Because if I ever thought about having a hoe phase, it would never happen simply because of the premise of that movie. I'm not trying to have a sexually transmitted death. So no, that's it. This is kind of cheating, but the whole Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, just because like even Wes Craven's The New Nightmare, even though it wasn't one of the best ones, like I still can't sleep with my feet stretched out to the end of the bed. Like if I think about it, I have to crawl up into the fetal position because I don't want anything like reaching up to grab me.
Oh man.
Insidious, that was the last horror movie I saw before I like gave up horror movies for a little bit. And I just liked the way it was. There wasn't, you know, a whole bunch of fanciness in it, but there was just little creepy stuff in the background. You'd be like, wait, was that an old lady just looking in the window there? Like that creeped me out.
And the soundtrack was so next level creepy. Like the soundtrack was amazing.
Yeah, like I didn't need it in my life. And then I'll say for the last one, Child's Play, because to this day, like I have a doll that my grandmother gave me when I was a kid, and I still kind of give that doll side eye, like,
no,
bitch, you better not come to life. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I take it you haven't seen any of the Annabelle movies?
No, I have not.
Because that will change your mind on your dolls, to be honest. Like, that doll is going in the trash. If you watch any of the Annabelle movies,
I need to keep my doll. So I
you.
won't be seeing Annabelle ever. So.
I saw the creation, and I didn't scream. It was more
Okay. However you want to put that, sir, it's so fine. It's fine.
Lucas, can I go, or do you want to go? Like, it's 5, bro. I'm gonna let you talk on honorable mentions, but just give me 5.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you.
I can give you 5 because my 5 is kind of easy normally. Halloween is number 1.
Wow.
Nightmare on Elm Street is number 2. Hellraiser is number 3. Phantasm is number 4. And number 5 is hard because I always swing between, and I know this movie for a lot is stupid, but I really liked it as a kid. Sleepaway Camp, the first one, because I thought that was so awesome. And it follows, as Keith said,
like that movie.
It follows because, again, the premise of a sexually transmitted disease following you around
that shit was scary.
That was scary in adult life. I did not listen. A lot of lifestyle changes had to change. A lot of lifestyle choices changed the moment that movie came out, and I realized that was the premise of that movie. I said, nope.
Yeah, that was scary. That was some scary shit.
So I'm gonna cheat a little bit and give you 6 with Sleepaway Camp and It Follows.
Of course, you just couldn't. You just couldn't.
Hey, listen, I could give you a top 100.
Okay,
I literally have a top 100.
I'm sorry.
I gave you 5.5.
Yeah, thank you.
Damn it! I skipped Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You see what I mean?
That's mine. That's actually mine. I was going with Texas Chainsaw. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's the original. The original one. That's my all-time fave. Like, it's so funny. Anytime I do a road trip, I'm always kind of looking for someone on the side of the road. Like, I went to Pennsylvania this weekend, and it's in the mountains, and I'm like, someone's about to come up, and I'm about to, give him a ride or get him somewhere, and he's gonna get. I kind of.
Why would you give him a ride?
I don't know, because I'm weird. Yeah, I'd pick up a hitchhiker. Like, what?
Sir,
you try to kill me? You're not crazy. Or like, so yeah, Texas Chainsaw, The Exorcist, the original Exorcist. Oh my God, I love it. Especially when she wrapped the head around. That was like the best. I don't think you could give me a CG movie to have that same effect. I don't think any movie right now has that same effect. Blair Witch, the original Blair Witch Project, The Descent. That's kind of new, but I'm talking about the one with the UK ending, not the American ending.
I know what you're talking about. That's a good movie.
Is that 4? And The Shining. The Shining.
Yeah. Original or remake?
The original. And The Shining, I will even go, let me pull a Lucas and do 6. The Mist. No, seriously. The Mist is another one. Like, it's so simple and I love
the ending that gets you. The Mist.
I
love it so much.
I can't handle it.
Like that scream at the end when he realized
it's that murdering his son and then realizing he was in safety already. That's man, that is so Stephen King to write something like that.
Maybe I'm sick, but I love the ending of them, and I love the fact that the movie, they didn't like try to soften the ending, try to make it seem, like what they did with The Descent. They didn't try to oh, this is too dark. Got to make it a little lighter, and they gave you that, that super ending. So I love that. So honorable mentions. Anyone wants to give an honorable mention? Because I know Lucas is gonna give me
God.
7.
Listen.
So let me let Michaela. No. Let me let Michaela and let me let you go because we got to keep this really tight for a second. So anyone wants to give an honorable mention? 1 or 2.
Jaws.
Nothing too crazy. Okay.
Love Jaws.
Man, I'm drawing a blank. I got nothing right now, and I know, like, as soon as Lucas says something, I'm gonna be like, "Damn it!" But yeah,
we'll come back to you. Go ahead, Lucas.
Okay.
Oh God. Okay. Cujo, 976 Evil,
yes.
The Gate. Goodness gracious, Keem, how you forget 97 The Ghoulies? Am I saying that right?
The Ghoulies,
not the Goonies. The Ghoulies.
Yeah, the Ghoulies,
yes.
And The Gate.
Oh.
Actually, The Gate.
I said The Gate. Yes, My Bloody Valentine. Oh my goodness. Scanners, which I skipped.
You messed up.
Jesus Christ. Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, the whole Living Dead series.
How could I forget?
Right.
Okay, I got one.
I just threw one in there.
The Howling.
Calm down, Lucas. Calm down.
Yeah.
She said
my
she
whole body is
let her
shaking,
go.
Team.
His body is ready. Cabin in the Woods.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna throw one out there. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That was
Yes.
pretty fucking good to me. It was pretty fucking scary.
The Lost Boys.
So,
Jesus Christ.
okay.
Fight Night.
The original or the remake?
Damn it. The all originals came. You know, I don't like remakes that often.
Okay.
Even Evil Dead, which I skip all the time because it has comedic elements, but still.
Army of Darkness.
Oh no, Evil Dead was good. What are you talking
still
about?
has some good jump
Fuck
scares.
yeah, Army of Darkness.
Yeah, just Bruce Campbell in general.
Yeah. Like, it's so good that I actually watched the show on Stars, Ash versus Evil Dead, and that show is so dumb, but I love it.
It is.
It's like one of those dumb shows that I watch. It's like, I can't quit you type shit.
I can't keep on going on because I can go in the 90s. I'm just gonna leave this alone.
All right, cool.
I'm not gonna.
All right,
In the Mouth of Madness, though, if you haven't seen it, check that out. Because that's
let's talk about
Next question, Mo. Next question.
So let's talk about those characters. Thank you, Keem. I need to become more like Keem from Draw 4 because she's like, okay, guys. So what we're gonna do down.
You gotta.
All right. So the next question that I have. Those characters, the characters that, that, hey, man, look, I love the horror movies and I watch them. So those characters that freak you the fuck out, like, crap, this is the scariest shit. Like, I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight. That kind of character. I know Lucas is one already. Like, can't wait. Right, Lucas? Let me let Lucas go first. What's your freak out? Like, okay, you watch it.
It's only one. I only have one character that I'm scared of. That's one. It's not that many. It's Candyman. Don't watch Candyman at night.
And I want to know why. And I just want to know why. Like, seriously.
Oh, I can explain this. This is really quickly. It's kind of easy, too. Candyman killed people in the ghetto. When I was little and stoic, I looked out my window, and the same swing set that was in the movie Candyman was outside my window. So, I thought Candyman was going to come in and kill me.
I think I'm dead.
I had bed accidents for about a week because I refused to go to the bathroom at night because he would jump out the mirror and kill me. That's the only character.
But
no other character scares me.
Oh,
who's next? I got you.
He's gone. Okay, I can't even say Candyman now because but yeah, I definitely agree with Louis Candyman. And it's kind of like seeing an accident on the side of the road, like you don't want to look, but something compels you to look. So sometimes you're like in the bathroom and you cut off the light and I'm like, don't you say that man's name 3 times. Like, I don't even know why I would even feel compelled to do it, but it freaked me out. But
how many times I stand in front of a mirror and do it just to see, like, am I gonna get a hook through the chest? Like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, nope. I want to live. So
because you're fucking crazy. That's why you do that.
Because you pick up hitchhikers.
Exactly.
I would say Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger has stayed with me throughout my life, partially because I really like sleep. So the fact that there is a being that's in your dreams that's just like fucking up your sleep, like you can't even go to sleep because that's his realm. That's where he's gonna come and get you. Nope, can't do it. And he was like a child pedophile or something like that too. Like
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He was just the worst. He was the
all
worst.
encompass of
Yeah.
evil.
He was like literally the worst. But yeah, the dream shit, that's kind of scary. But oh man, I'd go to sleep right after watching that. Like, come on, I dare you. Let's
I was
go.
the only 5-year-old with insomnia.
You know what? You know what?
With Nightmare on
I'm letting Mo get all of this off until he get to that
Don't
character
do
that
it.
he's scared of. That everyone
Don't
else
do
thinks
it.
is a joke.
Don't do
you get all these jokes off, but we just told you leave your own podcast because a picture came up on the screen.
Don't do it.
You have
No, I'll tell you why. You know what? I'll tell you why. It's a lot more.
Sir, you have no reason to judge anybody about our fears.
But dude, in front of him. Okay, you know what, Michaela? How about you go? I'll stop. I'll
Okay.
gather myself.
So, back to The Grudge. Kayako and Toshio, those two motherfuckers from that goddamn movie, I cannot deal with it. I think it's the fact that like just the idea that like they just make weird noises. And so like you could just be sitting the death rattle. You could just be sitting at home alone and you're like, man, it's so nice and quiet. It'd really fucking suck if I just all of a sudden started hearing a death rattle from like out of nowhere. That really bothers me. That always freaked me out for some reason. And I like that movie a lot and I have a lot of respect for it because it bothered me so much.
Mm-hmm.
But also Indrid Cold, Mothman, that Mothman freaks me out too. Just the idea, I think the thing that freaks me out the most is that one scene where the lady's describing that he's like 8 feet tall. That part I was like, nah. Nope.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The death rattle never really freaked me out as much as it should have because when I was a kid, we like used to do that, like competitions, like who can just the longest.
Yes.
I was feeling nostalgic. Like I remember that time I held it for a full 30 seconds and beat my cousin. But and then I went to ODB. Like ODB did that at the start of a song. This ain't nothing. You ain't scaring nobody.
So funny, right?
It's not scary to do it in public. It's just horrifying to be in your house and you know you're the only one there and you hear that noise.
Yeah, in the dark. They would probably
that spirit owns that house now. As I'm leaving it, that's your house now.
So I was dating this girl and we saw the movie together and she was terrified. So one night she was coming home. She went out. She was coming home. Lights were off. I saw her pull in, and I was hands and knees on the ground, and she walks in, and I'm like, yo.
You would have caught all kinds of feet in your face. All kinds of feet in your face.
No, she opened the door, and that's all she hears, and she runs the fuck out, purse, everything just laying there, and I'm dying because this is the funniest thing to me, right? She didn't know about the clown thing, so I was safe, so she could never get me back.
Because clearly, you would wake up to a clown for like 3 weeks in a row, Joe. Every night you would wake up to a clown. Every night. Look, clowns are creepy. Like, yes. So my character is Pennywise. Clowns, period. Like, I don't want to watch any scary movie with clowns in it. I will not go to a haunted house because there might be a clown in it. I didn't watch American Horror Story. The what was the one with the carnival? Both of them. The first one. Yeah, Carnival.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one. And currently, when I saw that the cult was gonna have clowns in it, I want to watch it so bad, but I'm like, it's kind of pushing it. I did see it, the new one, and I didn't sleep for like. Yeah, I didn't sleep for 2 days.
So how did you see it, Mo?
That movie was hilarious.
Mr. Crosby, how did you see it? How did you see it?
In the privacy of my own home. Crazy.
Like this, the whole movie, Joe.
Dead ass, like this, like, dude. And the part that creeped me out the most was the headless. When homie was in the library, and that was some. And then the clowns looked big. Not just I'm already scared of clowns. Now you give me a clown head, a big ass clown head. It just tripped me off. And then he was dancing.
Oh, when they're in the garage with the projector.
The
Yes.
dance.
And then he's doing that weird
scared
dance.
you? The dance.
The funniest dance in the world.
He was just so serious, but that was great.
For some reason, his head was in place and his body was moving. It just freaked me out. The reason I don't like clowns,
that
right?
was bad CGI.
So, it was something. There's that one scene in the original movie where he pulled the kid under the bed. I used to love to hide under the bed and jump scare people when I was a kid. And after seeing that, yeah, so things changed. Like, and again, it's just like clowns are just creepy. All in, like, just even forget it and forget Pennywise. Like, they're creepy. First of all, you're a grown person in a full face of makeup with a bright red nose, big ass feet, because big feet scared the shit out of me. So like,
what the fuck?
I'm just excusing myself.
I'm sorry. And you're happy to no, not like just grotesquely big, like just why the fuck are you
freakishly big?
Like, no. And then you're happy 24/7 because I know you're miserable, but then you're just happy. And I feel like I think what the real part of it was for his birthday. I was scared. But then I think the kids were messing with the clown, like my younger brother. The kids, we were young at the time. The kids were messing with the clown. And so the person got upset and kind of yelled at one of the kids. I'm like, yep, you're a demon. Like, that was it. And it just made me believe. Seriously, and that was the point where I was like, yeah. Because I was trying to warm back into, like, okay, maybe clowns are not that bad. But then once that happened, I was like, yeah, this is over. This is done. No. Yeah. Like, they're not normal human beings. I'm sorry. Like, there's a show on FX, Baskets. I don't know if you know that. Yeah, it's so fucking funny. My girlfriend watches that show all the time. I'm like, I would watch it and it's funny, but then he dresses up and I'm like,
that's a clown. Oh, so you don't watch like Modern Family either? You can't watch that because he does dress up as a clown.
Actually, I don't watch Modern Family enough to see him dress up as a clown. I'd catch it when it's on like Fox, during the reruns or whatever. I don't watch the actual show itself, so I've never seen him dress up as a clown. So I'm good on that. If I know that there's going to be a clown purposefully, that's a no from me.
I don't trust clowns the same way I don't trust Instagram models, because no one should have that much makeup on their face. But scared of them? No. But I just, what are you hiding? What's under all of that? That's what I don't like. And I don't like that they're there with their chicken.
So wait a minute, but you can watch the Joker? You can watch The Dark Knight. He is technically a clown.
I don't trust
But
that
no,
either.
he's not a clown.
Part of the Joker is not a clown. He's literally an evil, deranged
the Joker's
clown.
not a clown. No, the Joker's not a clown. He's a guy who fell into acid, and that's why his face is the way it is. He's not a clown.
Oh, you're even weirder now. That's how you justify being scared of the Joker?
He's a guy trying to make the best of a bad situation.
He has an origin story. It's not like he woke up one morning and face.
Wow.
No, he has an origin story.
So it's the origin story makes it fine. He's like, nope.
Yes.
I'm good with the Joker because he has an origin story.
Freaked out about the idea of people choosing to be clowns, like choosing to dress up as clowns.
How, like, you wake up in the morning and say, yes, I'm gonna be this happy the whole day. No, something is wrong with you, like fundamentally wrong with you. No, I mean, yes, you want people to wake up and be happy and be jolly, but there's just like the level. No, seriously, when that clown yelled at one of those kids in the party, I was like, this is exactly why. And then I'm not sure, there was like a rash of kidnappings, back where in Georgia where I was from, and they were kidnapping, and it would be a van with a clown who would hand you.
They had that up here.
He would hand you a lollipop, and you would, and next thing you'd be gone, and it'd be all over the news. So when they found out that it was a clown doing this, it solidified my theory. Clowns are not to be trusted. Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
So after all these things I'm telling you,
As a kid,
Tell
did you
me
not
why
go to
clowns are
McDonald's?
scary.
Did you not go to McDonald's as a kid?
Nigga, what? I went to McDonald's. There's a difference. When you're hungry,
It's a
like
fucking clown. It's literally owned by a clown. Like,
do
the
you
whole
realize
purpose
that
of McDonald's is a clown.
when no, seriously, I don't know, for some reason there was a disconnect with Ronald McDonald, and just he was
wanted that Happy
different.
Meal. Yeah.
Yes, he was different.
That's what it was.
You know what's funny? I'd have been one of those
man. He had it all
one of
put
those
together.
kids. Like, dead ass. I've been one of those kids. You're like, hey, do you want a Happy Meal? And I'll be in a van somewhere. Like, that's literally. So
if Pennywise came to you with a Happy Meal, you would have taken it, huh?
No, he's scary. He ate a fucking kid's arm. Are you kidding me? Like, if your first introduction to Pennywise was him pulling somebody's arm literally off its socket, like in this movie, they made Pennywise so much more visceral than he was, you know, because I believe, I can't really remember, because I decided to forget about the original It, you know, I decided I'm not going to remember that. What? I decided.
Are you reclaiming your time?
Yes,
You're reclaiming your time,
No, but like, clowns are just a no for me. So like that's my character. That's the one character that I'm like, nah, I don't want no parts. But so we're coming up on Halloween. This is like the best time of the year. There's candy, there's dressing up, and
there's clowns.
Okay, yes, no. Oh, I'm not going out of the house this Halloween. This is the one Halloween that, because I know after everyone just saw it. Yes,
there's going to be so many Pennywises.
Yeah.
It's a no from me. I'm not gonna go out the house. I already planned out, you know, what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go pick up my nephew, and then we're gonna go trick or treat like while there's light out, and that's it for us.
What happened if your nephew's dressed like Pennywise?
No, I already told my brother don't do it, because that's the only reason I love. I told him not to do it. Like, you're not gonna. He's my ear. First of all, you're not gonna disobey my order and dress your son as a clown. Are you crazy?
Wait a minute.
He might after he sees this.
Exactly.
I would.
Oh, you know what? No, I would not do that, because I wouldn't want to scare my brother that way. But, would you wake up for Halloween morning to someone knocking on your door and it's a clown?
No.
Would you go to work?
If it was me, no, I wouldn't.
At your job, it'd be a clown. I would. Oh, it doesn't have to be Halloween. I have a friend who's scared of clowns, and me and another friend of his are going to give him a clownogram multiple times out the course of the year.
We will not be friends anymore.
Because y'all ain't shit.
Thank you. You know, I went to a mall. I don't remember what mall I went to, but I went to a mall. I parked on the one end, so the store I wanted to go was pretty, you know, was in the middle. So I parked on the one end. I walked in the mall, and I see a clown. I walked back out, went around.
Nope.
Went around, and I had a friend with me, and my friend was like, "Yo, are we really about to walk all the way around?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll you know, just text me when we'll meet up. Just text me when you get there."
Don't bring that clown with you.
All right. Don't.
Oh shit.
So what? I forgot the question I was about to ask. No, but we're coming up on Halloween, and I have to ask this question: is there any horror stories you have to tell, like besides the movies itself? Like, is there anything like, okay, I watched this movie, like Kim was saying, you know, you're scared to go into the bathroom, but has there been a time where you're just sitting down minding your business and something just scary happens and you're like, fuck, maybe I shouldn't have watched that movie last night?
Yeah.
Probably.
It's with The Grudge. Maybe that's why I'm so freaked out by it. But so the first time I ever watched The Grudge, I was in high school, I think, and I went to my friend's house, and they had a huge TV in their entertainment room, and we got the DVD. And so the first thing that was really fucked up about that was, apparently, like, with this DVD, what they did was they programmed it so that when you pause it, it shows the, like, promo image for The Grudge, which is Kayako with, like, the hair in front of her face, and it says The Grudge in, like, bright red letters. So we, like, I think she had to, like, get up and go to the bathroom, so we paused it, and we were both turned around. We weren't paying attention, and she came out of the bathroom, and she freaked out, and I turned around. The whole screen was just like her face, just like staring. And then, so that was really messed up.
Yeah, I would have died. I would have died.
It was real bad. We freaked out a little bit. And then they also had, so their surround sound was set up really stupid for some reason. I don't know why, but so you're sitting in the living room or the entertainment room, and behind it is the kitchen. And for some reason, they hooked up some of their surround sound speakers in the kitchen. So the part where Toshio, like the little boy, is like running around barefoot, and you can hear his little his feet pitter-pattering around, because of where their speakers were, it sounded like he was running around the island in their kitchen. So we were like,
yeah, no.
What was that?
You'd have to stop. You'd have to stop the movie, and we'd have to do something else. No.
No.
Yeah. And then we go upstairs, because I was spending the night, and we went upstairs and we were gonna go to bed. And I was laying there on my phone because I couldn't fall asleep. And she sleeps with her door open, which is just messed up. I don't know. That bothers the crap out of me. But she was sleeping with her door open. And so the hall lights were shut off and all that. And the light from her computer was on. So you couldn't see anything beyond the door. It was pitch black. And all of a sudden, I just hear, and I was not having any of it. And it ended up being her cat Snickers, or whatever the fuck his name was just in the hallway just meowing for no reason. And he never ever does that, ever. Literally just decided to do it after we watched this stupid movie. And maybe that's why that bothers the crap out of me. Maybe that's why that movie got me so bad, but yeah.
There was a reason the cat decided to do that, to be honest. You just don't know the reason, but there was a reason. King, do you have any I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know that I have any specifics. I think it's just a culmination of all of the scary movies that I've watched over time. I dog sit. And so sometimes the dog will come in and then it'll just sit and it'll start staring at a certain spot in the house. And I'm like, okay, there's nothing up there. Why are you staring? We will both get our shit and get the fuck out right now if you don't start focusing on something else. Because that's, nope. We don't deal with spirits. Yeah, other than that, it's just more so me psyching myself out if I'm laying at night. I know one time I woke up and I could swear there was a shadowy figure in the corner, and I was trying to build up my nerve to get up and go fuck it up. And it turns out that I just threw my jacket over my vacuum cleaner. So once I got up, I had my knife in my hand, I was ready to go, but then I was like, oh, I should just do better housekeeping. Okay.
You're gonna go fight your jacket, pretty much. That's awesome.
It would have been bad, yeah.
Lou, I know you have to have one, or maybe two. I know for a fact. And please let it be Candyman related. I'm begging you.
Amazingly, as an adult, nothing. I've never had any issues with horror movies scaring me as an adult.
Wow.
Gotcha.
I'm kind of upset.
It doesn't.
You know what?
I have very weird things that scare me that are not horror related as an adult.
No.
But for as horror movies in general, nope. Get the fuck up. You know what? I will put a picture of a clown up here.
Chill. Okay, I'm sorry.
Exactly. But
no,
for horror movies in general, they freak me out at times. But scared, not really, because I just don't. Nah, it doesn't do it. That's all I can say about it.
All right, so I think I just watched. I come back from watching Annabelle Creations with you guys, right? And then I was like, oh, you know what? When I get home, I'm gonna go watch, everything all the way, from Annabelle Creations. I just saw that because the way it ended bringing the original Annabelle into it, and it tied it in. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go watch the original Annabelle again because I just gotta, So I watched that, and then I watched The Conjuring, and then I watched The Conjuring 2. So all three movies back to back, and I think I started watching it the next night at 7. I got home, I had nothing else to do, so I'm watching all three movies back to back to back. Watching these movies, right? Lights off. I need to go get a drink of water from the kitchen, dude. So you have a cat, right? No, this is why I said something about your cat. So we have a cat in the house, and she always, just usually minds her business, never never fucks with anyone. And so I get downstairs and I'm just trying to get, trying to go into the kitchen, and she's right there in the middle of the floor, in the middle of the doorway into the kitchen, not letting anyone through. I'm like, okay, so I'm trying to go around, and I move to the left. She slides over to the left. Go back over to the right. She slides back over to the right. All right, what's going on? It might have just been she wanted something to drink, but I just seen Annabelle, The Conjuring, and The Conjuring 2. So I was like, you know what? Tonight,
Double cat.
I'm just gonna go to sleep without drinking any water. I don't need this.
Parched.
Yo, I've never fallen asleep. I fell asleep with the lights on and the TV on. That this is not about to be my life. Not tonight. Because those movies are about possession. And so something may have possessed the cat that night. She's going to come up the steps. She's going to walk in my room and claw my eyes out. I already don't like cats as much. But, it's whatever.
Have a cat?
Dude, it's a long story, but we'll talk about it later. But anyways, that's not what we're talking about. That's not what the show's about.
That's a sidebar.
Yes, this is not what the show's about. But no, that, again, it's probably in line with what King was saying. It was just all in my head again. I just seen these movies and I wasn't thinking too straight. First of all, why would I watch all three of them back to back? That was on me. I was asking for this. But yeah, so that's my horror story and that's my horror experience. I was expecting something sliding across the hall or something sliding across the the counter, like one of those oh nah, I'm not like.
Well, you listen to the last.
Oh yeah,
so I've had scary moments, but it wasn't connected at all to any horror movies. That was just life. Where I was like,
no, but time out. Tell me why. No, did you listen to it, Lou? She said she spoke to whoever was in there and said.
I cut it off when she said the dog levitated onto her bed. I don't need to know any more of that. That's it.
A dog?
That was not even the worst.
Wait, dog or dog?
My dog, dog,
like a real live dog.
Oh. What?
So if a dog levitated on her bed.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
that.
I'm out. I'm just out. It's done. Fuck this lease. Like, it's okay.
Let me
ask you still have the doll?
No, that doll would be burned.
King, let me ask you, what possessed you to actually talk to whatever was in there and say, hey, look?
Because I have a friend. I have a friend. She's really into all things like ghosts, and she's like really intrigued with how people die and that kind of stuff. So she does a lot of reading and studying on it. When was that her name? Sylvia Brown used to come on the Montel show all the time, like psychic spiritual readings. Yeah. Like she actually had those books and stuff. And so I remember her saying, like, if you don't think it's a malevolent spirit, you can talk to it and ask that it doesn't present itself to you. So it might still be around, but then you're not going to see any more signs of it. So I was like, well, it's a shot. And if I say, I don't want to see you, and it says no, or get out, or something like that, I'm going to listen, and I'm going to leave everything where it is and grab my car keys and get out.
No, but
I'd have put the dog out. I'd have put the dog out.
Not my baby. No.
I'm sorry.
Feed the wolf. If any animal levitates on my bed and I hear a voice say "feed the wolf," that animal has to leave now. Because I don't know
didn't look just as shocked as I did, then it would have been a problem. But the dog was on the bed like, what? No, my stomach growled a little bit, but I'm fine. You can put me back down. I wasn't expecting to be here. So
I really need you to watch The Conjuring 1 and 2 at some point.
I need you not to watch either one of those. Not now.
I have I was just talking to my friend, and we were talking about some horror movie that's coming out, and he was like, so you're going to watch it? And I was like, we can watch it, but we have to watch it on a Friday when you first get here, because I'm going to need like a 2-day buffer. Like I need somebody to be with me for a couple of days before I can sleep by myself again. So I will watch The Conjuring when I have access to to the person that makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's in line with the horror movie that's coming out. It's all in line, right? It all ties in.
Which one? What's the horror movie that's coming
What's the
out?
one coming
Is it The
out?
Nun?
The Nun? Yeah.
Is it The Nun?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
It ties in, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So you can't watch that and not
Without seeing The Conjuring.
Yeah, you gotta watch 2 at least.
on your own time.
Yeah, at least
No
Annabelle
pressure.
Creation.
Oof.
But I would say don't do it because you're not prepared for it yet.
Again, I didn't scream. It was whoa. Hey.
If that was you saying whoa, it was like whoa.
I think that was the biggest mistake of my life watching that movie with Lucas because he will never.
You will
Never
not
let it
live
go.
down that. You will not
You're
live
not
down that
living that
screen.
down.
Mm-mm. I had a friend who
But
did the same thing at the last Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake they made, and it was a jump scare with Freddy, and he is 6'5", about 280, and during the jump scare, he screamed and his popcorn flew in the air. For that reason, he does not talk to me that often now because every time he does, I bring that up every time. Say, hey,
Horrible friend.
No, seriously.
we could be in church. We could be at a funeral, and I'll be like, "Remember when you jumped and you put your popcorn everywhere?" Mm-hmm.
Oh man, no, but
Such a little.
honestly, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for doing this. I really appreciate this. You guys coming on here and talking, horror with me and doing this Halloween special. It's something I've always wanted to do, so I'm glad I finally got it. I got it done. King, we have to get you back here at some point. I'll figure out a way to get you back here. But it was really cool. Nice to meet you, Michaela. You have to come back too. Maybe next time you'll come with Patrick because that'll be awesome. Yes, it'll be really awesome. And yeah, you just when we'll talk later, Lou. We'll probably bring you back at some point.
You're like, Lou, I'll see you next Thursday.
Exactly.
We're not gonna see a movie. So
Listen, Lou will miss our podcast to record your podcast. So
no.
I did that just one time. I did that one time. One time I did that.
I kind of appreciate it, but I caught the shade.
It's 4 of us.
I mean, it is 4 of you guys.
But it's called the Draw 4 podcast.
Sure.
You know what I love about the Draw 4 is when it's like when you guys are going, it's like 1 or 2 of you, and it's like Draw 4/2. I love when y'all do that. All right, thank you guys for coming. Lucas, you want to dance?
Nope.
Okay.
I want to put up a picture. I want to put up a picture of it, like right now.
You will not do that.
With the shoulders, Lou. Just kill him.
Oh.
There's a gif of him doing the dance. Put it up.
Yes.
Put it up.
Oh, yes. Damn it, there is a gif of it doing the dance too.
You missed your chance. But now, so before you guys go, I want you guys to plug where you guys are from. More subscribers, King. I'm working on it. So, like,
appreciate you.
You must have heard me. All I heard was, "Oh shit, it's the T-shirt." I'm like,
yo,
I'll let him know. He'll be happy.
Yo, he's like, "Oh shit, it's the T-show." It's just me and you guys. He was.
And then he went off on the most serious rant about subscribers. I swear it felt like he threatened a couple of people's lives there, Joe.
He did a little bit.
And King said, "You just subscribe because you don't want Brown Liquor Tea coming after you." Like, anyway, so
scary.
Since Keen is the moderator, I'll let her go.
Yeah, so we are the Draw 4 podcast. You can look us up on YouTube. Draw 4, spell out FOUR podcast. We're generally recording about 2 times a week now. Try to get it out like Wednesdays and Thursdays, Wednesdays and Fridays, somewhere in there. So check us out.
So that's Draw 4 the podcast. They're really awesome. I love listening to them. So you guys from EARTH2, show them some love. Yes, Kayla.
Yeah,
you're like,
I don't have any kind of fancy presents or anything, but I have. But I do run a board game store in Seattle called Uncle's Games, so you can always come down there and talk to me.
All right.
And
so
I can play horror games.
Michaela, do you have a website?
Yeah, we do. It's unclesgames.com. It just basically has like our events and stuff. We don't sell anything though, so if you live in the area, it's super useful, but if you're not really from around there, it's not really going to do you much good. But it's a really awesome store. We've been around since 1978, so.
Wow.
Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta visit Seattle and come because I believe in playing Monopoly for blood.
For blood.
Okay.
Jesus.
And so if one more thing. If you tune into the Draw 4 podcast, I'll go ahead and say this now. Do not expect the card game. They're not playing Uno. Okay? There's no instructions on how to play Uno. There's no instructions on how to defeat the Draw 4 card. Just know for a fact it's a podcast and it's the name of the podcast and it's not about card games.
It's not.
Okay.
Has there been actual questions about this? Is this why
We can play card games, but it's going to be a lot of cussing and a lot of drinking during these card games.
There's a lot of cussing and a lot of drinking during the podcast, so nothing's going to change.
You know what? Mo has given us a good idea. We may one day play Uno live on Draw 4 while we're drinking.
And you know what's going to happen?
It would just end so violently. I know it would.
For real? That's how you feel with that Draw 4? That's how you really feel?
It would end with somebody losing their life. Somebody would have to die at the end of that Uno game.
Yeah, we probably should never play together.
Yeah, no, Uno is a serious game. But I want to thank everyone that was on here. Again, thank you, Lou. You guys know where Lou's from. I don't really have to announce that again. Thank you very much, King, for coming through. Michaela, thank you for coming through and representing Seattle and Uncle's Games. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for talking about horror with me, and thank you for doing the Halloween special with me. Again, really, really appreciate it. It is your boy Mo Crosby from EARTH2 Comicast. Again, today we are EARTH2, the Dark Universe. Remember that. So I really would love to do this every year, just once, just do a Halloween special every year, talk about something. This year was the horror episodes or horror flicks. But yeah, hopefully I'm back and Michaela back for another podcast and another cast. So again, thank you guys for coming. It's been your boy Mo Crosby. You can catch us. We have our New York Comic Con presentations coming out this week. So interviews from The Runaways, The Tick, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will be out this week. Also, the podcast is coming out this week. It's on Audio Mac. You guys know what that is. Check that out. Again, thank you guys for watching. It's always been real. And thank you guys for coming. And
thanks for having us.
Oh, no. Thank you. It's a pleasure.